YouTube, how you doing? Today we're going to be going into another video here where we're going to be trying to predict the Madden 21 X Factors. Obviously we know last year X Factors were the new and bright thing for Madden, so obviously they're going to be coming at us with even more, I feel like, next year. Last year there was about 50 of them at launch, not including superstars, just the actual X Factors, which when I went back and looked at it, I didn't expect it to be that much. But there was that much, and so we're going to actually be going here into Madden 20 and going through the rosters, and I have a list already made out of guys who I think are going to get the X Factors. A lot of them probably already have it in this game, which would make sense. If they had it this year, there's no reason that they're going to lose it. But there are some new guys going into it as well. So if you guys do like this content and you are excited for Madden 21, please be sure to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe if you are new as well, as it does help out the channel very much. But without further ado, we're just going to go team by team and we'll get right into it. Alright, so starting off this list, there's not really a big surprise here. If you knew we were going in alphabetical order, like I said, this guy is going to be the #1 guy probably on the list. He might even be in the 99 club starting off next year. He's a 98 right now, but Khalil Mack is an absolute monster in the NFL. 28 years old, so he should be 29 probably next year, but has just been an absolute wrecker in the league ever since he came into Oakland. Then the trade to Chicago. I mean, you look at what their team's going to be next year. They should have Akeem Hicks back for the whole year healthy. This team is going to look a lot better, especially on the defensive side. So this is definitely a guy who's going to be deserving of an X Factor. And with the first team being the Chicago Bears, I think he's going to get one. Someone that doesn't have an X Factor or even a superstar ability in this game kind of surprised me, and that's Eddie Jackson here, who I actually do think is going to have an X Factor at the launch of the game. This defense, like I said, is really what holds this Bears team up, and Eddie Jackson has been one of, if not the best free safety in the league for a while. Definitely a top 5 player at the position, so I think this is a guy who's going to be able to win an X Factor ability. I think his rating is going to go a little bit higher than 89 next year, and I'm excited to see it. So just for the Bears, we got the Khalil Mack X Factor as well as Eddie Jackson, and we'll be moving on to the next team. Here for the Cincinnati Bengals, we have Geno Atkins with an X Factor, keeping it. This guy is just going to continue to produce. I think he's going to be a great veteran for this team, who's obviously getting younger. This is actually the only X Factor I have the Cincinnati Bengals having. A lot of these teams are going to have guys who will probably get X Factors within the first few weeks. It's just a matter of fact of going into the season where they're at. It's just not really attainable to give it to them because this is the best of the best. So we have to wait for AJ Green to get back on the field for us to know that he is going to be an X Factor player as well. But Geno Atkins consistently performs, and being a veteran on this defense is going to prove to be very fruitful for this team next year. Going into the Buffalo Bills, not even a surprise in my opinion. Stefon Diggs here, only a superstar ability right now. Going into next year, especially with the upside that he's going to have with Josh Allen as his quarterback, I see this being an easy X Factor. One of the best receivers in football. I think he's top 5 when he's actually able to get the ball, which is what I think Josh Allen's going to be able to do for him. I think he's going to have a great year next year. I think he's going to start off as X Factor. I don't know if he'll ever lose it this season. I think he is poised to have such a good year. So I'm excited to see what Stefon Diggs does in Buffalo, and I'm excited to use him with his X Factor ability. The second, and unfortunately the last for the Buffalo Bills, is going to be Trey White. He already has an X Factor, which is good, but Trey White is just one of those lockdown corners. It's pretty much hard to get past him in coverage. He is one of the best corners in the NFL. Great pick out of LSU a couple years ago, and he has proved to be one of the great corners in the NFL. So like I said, with him and Stefon Diggs, excited to use these guys next year. I think the Bills are going to be one of the most fun teams to play in Madden next year. So definitely like having Trey White and Stefon Diggs both represent the Bills in the X Factor department. Here for the Denver Broncos, I mean, could you really expect anything less? Von Miller is going to get an X Factor as well, kind of like the Khalil Mack thing. He's just been wrecking the league for too damn long to not get another X Factor. He's a beast. Will his rating stay at a 96? It might be like a 94, 95. It could stay at a 96, but I think that him still performing at his age is incredible. He shows no signs of slowing down. Getting Bradley CHUBB back on the other side is going to help him out a lot. I really like this Broncos team going into next year. I think they're a team that can definitely fight for a wild card spot in that AFC. So Von Miller is going to get one, but I do have another one for the Broncos, and that is going to be Justin Simmons. Now, does Justin Simmons have a face scan? No. Is it embarrassing? Yeah. But that's going to be fixed next year because he is going to be an X Factor player, in my opinion. I think he's just played so well. He's progressed so well throughout these years. He's really became one of the best safeties we have in the NFL, and I really like watching his game. I really like what he does, and I think that the Madden devs are going to look at that and say, you know, looking at the free safety spot, we need some X Factors, and Justin Simmons deserves to be there. He also deserves to be in the 90 club. So I think that that is going to be a sneaky X Factor, one of my new guys going in there. I really like Justin Simmons heading up to the X Factor ability mark. Here for the Cleveland Browns, we already see he has one here, and there's no reason why he would lose it. Nick Chubb, an absolute beast of a running back out of Georgia. Going into his 3rd year, he's set himself up to be a premier back in the NFL, and I'm excited to see what he can do next year for this Browns team, who hopefully can make the jump that we thought they were going to make last year. I really like where the Browns are at. I really like their roster, but overall, I like what Nick Chubb is going to do for this team. He really creates just a dynamic offense with how great of a running back he is, and I think he's going to be great. Now, there's a couple guys who do deserve X factors on this team, like Odell Beckham, Myles Garrett, but I did not give them. They might be superstars. If you guys want me to do a superstar video of just superstar abilities, I will do that as well. I'm down for that, but when you look at what the X factors are going to be, I just see that, you know, how they kind of are with players. It's going to take a week or two for them to earn that back. Myles Garrett, obviously, with what he missed all last season because of what happened, and Odell Beckham with just the disappointing year. I don't see them giving him X factors right away, but they definitely can earn it back really quick. Somebody that I think definitely earned an X factor last year for having just an insanely great year at the tight end position is Austin Hooper. Only 24 years old. He'll be 25 next year, going into his 4th year, or his 5th year, I believe, actually. He just played amazing for the Falcons. He was a big reason why the Falcons offense wasn't regressing, with Devontae Freeman not playing up to par and just overall the team not performing as good as they should. This is a guy who really held it down, was able to be just a reception machine. I really like what they're doing, especially in Cleveland. You know that the devs love Cleveland Browns. I mean, it's like the media. They really like putting out these teams like Cleveland Browns as good as they can. So getting a guy like Austin Hooper to be an X factor along with Nick Chubb is setting up the Browns for success in Madden 21. Heading over to Tampa Bay, we have a few X factors here, and we're going to start off here with Rob Gronkowski. Now, obviously, that doesn't look too much like Gronk on that right side, but you know he is going to get an X factor. He might not be a 99, maybe like a 95, 96, but you know he's a beast. I think that if they put him in and they don't give him an X factor, it'd be a little surprising to me because of how dominant he is at the tight end position. Still being only 30 years old, it's very apparent that he's going to be able to play at a high level, in my opinion. But we'll be able to see what they do. I personally think with how great of a tight end he was when he left, I don't think that he's regressed that much in 1 year off. I think he's going to be able to come back and be an X factor player. Next up, we have Mike Evans here. He's got an X factor here, and I don't see him losing it. He is just one of the best 50-50 balls catchers in the league. I mean, he's able to get up, 6'5", use his body to just make pretty much any catch. I mean, there are games where he just goes for like 300 yards in like the first half. It's like he just is insane. He's able to get open like most tall receivers like him and his body frame can't do. He's able to jump ball, like I've already said. He's even able to run past some players, which is kind of impressive for a guy his size. So I love what he's able to do, and I love his duo that we're also going to get to in just a moment. So that's the second X factor of 4, in my opinion, for the Buccaneers. The next one of the X factors is none other than Tampa Bay's Tom Brady. Going into his 20th year, 30th year, whatever it is, he is going to be an X factor, and there's no way they can take it away from him. I mean, he is the GOAT. He's the GOAT. It's really what it is. He gets his best friend back in Rob Gronkowski to throw to. I mean, he's got amazing weapons in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to throw to. I mean, this is just going to be a fun team to watch next year. But first of all, I'm just noticing on a screen that he has 76 overall scrambler ability. That's hilarious to me. But you know, I think he's going to be great. Is his rating probably going to stay around this 91 range? I think so. Probably go up to like a 93 or 94 because they love Tom. But I think that he's going to stay as an X factor. There's no reason that they would lower it. He's one of the best in the NFL. Even if he went down to an 80 overall, I think he'd still hold an X factor ability. So definitely one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in our lifetime, if not the best. Tom Brady's keeping an X factor. And last but not least, Chris Godwin, who just had another amazing year here for the Buccaneers. I mean, this guy has proven to be one of the best receivers in the NFL, alongside one of the best receivers in the NFL, Mike Evans. Now he has the greatest quarterback of all time throwing to him. He has one of the best tight ends of all time, also on his offense. I mean, this is a guy who's going to blossom even more, in my opinion, and he's going to go up to an X factor ability. I think he held it down for just a little bit, but he was not able to maintain it the whole year, but I think there's no way he's not going to be at least a 90 overall and an X factor ability. So I really like what we're going to get out of Chris Godwin next year, and I think that we're going to be seeing 4 of these X factors for Tampa Bay. Going into the desert, we of course are going to have DeAndre Hopkins, the newly acquired wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, this guy is insane. There's not much you can say much about him. I mean, he is one of the best receivers in the NFL. He has been for years, and there's no way that's going to regress with a guy like Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury's offense proving to be what it is. So I really like what DeAndre Hopkins is going to be able to give for the team, and I'm excited to see him as an X factor. The next X factor, and the second and only X factor for the Cardinals is going to be Chandler Jones. He's just one of the best edge rushers that we have in the NFL, if we're being honest here. He's very underappreciated as well, but he's going to keep his X factor. He's the leader of this defense. He's going to continue to do it as we see probably a steep increase here for the Arizona Cardinals. Coming in as the first X factor here for the Los Angeles Chargers, it is going to be Keenan Allen. Now, Keenan Allen, what can we say about this guy? Polished route runner. He's able to get open pretty much anywhere. He's able to basically conform this whole offense into something special. The reason that he's on the field is not just because of his talent, but because he's able to take so many defenders with him that it creates space for guys like Eckler and Mike Williams and Hunter Henry to make plays as well. So it's going to be fun to see how the Chargers do this next year with Tyrod and Herbert. But they do have one more X factor. Their second X factor is going to be Joey Bosa. His brother Nick was stealing a lot of the spotlight here this year due to how great of a player he's been, but Joey has been doing it for a good amount of time. He's going into his 5th year coming into the 2020 season, so he's a very good player. He's a very good player. We're able to see him just absolutely wreck games when he's on the field, so I'm excited to see what he's going to be like next season now that he's fully healthy, and the Chargers with their 2 X factor. Alright, stay tuned for a bunch of X factors because the Chiefs have a lot of them, and we're starting off with Patrick Mahomes here. Not much needs to be said. He's the best quarterback in the league. He won the Super Bowl. I mean, this team is going to get a lot of love because of their Super Bowl win, but Patrick Mahomes, of course, you wouldn't expect anybody else to get it. Former cover athlete and now just best player in probably football right now. So got to give it to him. Mahomes is an absolute beast. Then we go right over to the best tight end in football, in my opinion, and that is Travis Kelce, who's also going to keep an X factor going into next year. The guy just has too much talent. He's able to do everything that you want at the tight end position. He can block. He can get out and route run. He can make catches over defenders. He can make catches low to the ground. He can pretty much do it all. So Travis Kelce is going to be the second X factor for the Chiefs. As we just keep going down the list, Tyreek Hill, the only reason he has a star dev is because of all the stuff coming out about the allegations of him beating his son and stuff like that, which was just horrible. But those have since passed. He's shown that is not how he is, and he went out, he played his best football after injury. He came out and was a big reason why this team was Super Bowl champion at the end of the year. I think there's no way in hell that they don't give him an X factor next season, and that is 3 already for the Chiefs, and we're not stopping there. Defensive tackle Chris Jones, arguably the best defensive tackle in the National Football League right now. He is an absolute wrecker. When he came back off of injury last year, it was an immediate impact. He was an absolute monster on the field. He was a big reason why, because he came back, they were able to get past some of the tough talent that they were facing. I mean, they were down a lot in the playoffs, and then they ended up coming back in the second half. So Chris Jones is a big reason for that. And unfortunately, he is not the last X factor, as there is actually one more for the Chiefs. I think after what he did in the playoffs, I think after what he did last season and getting a Super Bowl ring for them, I think TYRANN Mathieu is going to go up and be an X factor player to start off the season. Is he going to hold on to it? I'm not entirely sure, but he has really reached his stardom that he once had in Arizona, back in now Kansas City. He's just one of those safeties who's going to be everywhere on the field. He can hit hard. He can cover well. This is a guy who I think is going to be able to get an X factor. Now, the only X factor I have for the Indianapolis Colts is actually going to be DeForest Buckner, formerly of the 49ers. He had such a great year this year. He was a big reason why they made it to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, he was shipped away for that 14th overall pick, which they ended up turning into Javon Kinlaw, but he is an absolute beast. I think that going into Indianapolis, he's going to have that X factor ability. I think that he's going to be a very big reason why this defense is stepping up a lot more when their offense has really shown. You know, they have the trenches on offense. They really needed to get it on defense, and getting a guy like Buckner is going to get it. T.Y. Hilton, I think just due to injuries, he's not going to be able to start off with one. He'll probably start off with a superstar. I think he'll probably end up getting one somewhere in the season because I think T.Y. Hilton is just a great player. But I think to start off, if there's one player that's going to get it on this roster, I think it'll be DeForest Buckner. I think going from Colts and Cowboys, it is also safe to remind you guys that there are no X factors for offensive linemen, at least this year, so I'm not putting any in for next year. A lot of linemen I think deserve it, but since there's no X factors right now for them, I just don't have it for it. But I think an X factor here will be Ezekiel Elliott for the Cowboys here. One of the best running backs in football. He has a superstar again. It's just due to off the field stuff and then holdouts and whatever, but this guy was an absolute monster. He is one of the best running backs in football. He has been since he entered the league, and there's no reason that's going to slow down. And the second X factor and last X factor for the Dallas Cowboys is going to be Amari Cooper. Best route runner, arguably in the best first 5 steps in the NFL, no doubt. He is able to just do insane things off those first 5 steps, but he is one of the best route runners we have in the NFL. He's proven time and time again in Dallas that he has the ability to get up for the ball. He has the ability to hold on to the ball. He still has a little bit of a drop issue. He's not always the most short-handed, but he has made plays to where he is a top 10 player at his position, and he's not looking back. He got a big old payday this last season, so we're going to see a lot more of him for the upcoming years. Miami fans, rejoice because you guys are out of a rebuilding state and you are in a competitive state, and I am happy to see because I love just seeing when the Dolphins are at least thriving a little bit, see them fighting for playoff contention in competitive games. It's more fun to watch them that way. But I do have him getting one X factor, and that is BYRON Jones. I think BYRON Jones, out of everybody on the roster, has the best chance of getting one. He's been pretty much a lockdown corner in Dallas. Now getting a big payday, I think that's going to help the Madden ratings give him up. If not an X factor, at least a superstar. But I do think that if there is an X factor on this team, it will be BYRON Jones. Philly fans, you're never going to lose this X factor until he's done playing football. Fletcher Cox is just an absolute wrecker of the middle. He's not going to slow down. I mean, this guy is an absolute beast. You got to love what he's able to do. So, once again, this guy's not going to lose an X factor for as long as they're in the game, as long as he's playing the game of football. So, beast of a player for Philly. I think when it comes to Madden, there are some teams that definitely get a little bit more love than others on ratings and stuff. I think the Eagles are one of them, along with, the Cowboys, the Browns as well. So, I definitely think that there's some teams that might get a little bit more. I'm not sure if Darius Slay is deserving of an X factor over just superstar, but I think that they'll give it to him. He got sent there from the Lions. I think he's going to be a very good lockdown corner for the Eagles. He's going to help their secondary immensely. So very good, very good, very good pick up there for the Eagles. I think he's going to be an X factor as well as their second and final one. The only X factor I have to start off Madden for them is going to be Julio Jones. The Falcons, they added some pieces. Former MVP runner-up in Todd Gurley. Deion Jones should be healthy. I mean, there's a lot of talent on this team, but I think with Julio Jones being the centerpiece of this team, I think they're going to give him, obviously, his X factor that he deserves. I don't know if anyone else in this team is going to get one, at least at launch. They might be able to earn one down the line in the season, but Julio Jones is a lock for an X factor, maybe even a 99 club. Definitely possible. So I think that Julio Jones is going to be an X factor for the Falcons. Now, heading over to the Bay, we're going to be getting George Kittle, his X factor. He has one here in this Madden. He's going to keep it. One of the best tight ends in football, if not the best. Kind of like KELCE. They're fighting for 1 and 2, but they're pretty much 1A and 1B. He's an absolute beast. When he's on the field, he is just there's just so much talent. He's been such a great player at the tight end position. No reason why he wouldn't get an X factor ability, in my opinion. A guy who seems to be aging like fine wine, Richard Sherman's keeping his X factor, in my opinion, at least to start. He's never had the speed to keep up with speedy receivers, so of course he's been getting burned a couple times due to his speed not being there. But when it comes to press coverage, when it comes to man coverage, when it comes to sitting in a zone, I mean, this guy is second to none. He's able to do it. He's able to body up any receiver in the league, and that helps with his 6'3" frame. But I mean, even at his age, he is still one of the best corners in football. Top 5 corner in football for sure, in my opinion, and he's going to keep his X factor. Now, I think the old rook, the defensive rookie of the year, is going to actually get an X factor after his first year. He's already up to almost a 90 in this Madden. I think he'll surpass that and get an X factor. I mean, this guy, X factor, as great as it is as an ability in the game, it's also a development trait. And I think that a guy like Nick Bosa should have the best development trait. And that is what you're going to get. I mean, his brother has one. I think he's going to get one. He had an amazing rookie season. He completely transformed this defense into something special. And I think he's going to keep doing that throughout his career for the San Francisco 49ers. New York Giants are usually a team that don't get the most love when it comes to the ratings, and it's kind of just become accustomed to, especially as a Giants fan. But a guy that's going to get it is Saquon Barkley. Now, him being an 89 overall is one of the biggest disrespectful things I've ever seen in my life. I think he had 500 yards in the last 3 or 4 games, which is crazy to see. But, I mean, the injury held him back a little bit. I don't think his rating should have been killed like this. This is pretty insane. But Saquon Barkley is arguably the best running back in football. It's between McCaffrey, him, Zeke, and probably Kamara or Cook, in my opinion. But he is an absolute beast. Top 5, top 3 for sure. And he's going to keep his X factor. There's not really much else to say about this one. I thought about Evan Ingram, but I think his injuries have held him back from keeping up with that. I think he'll probably be a superstar ability, if anything. But overall, Saquon Barkley is going to be the one and only Giant on the X factor. Now, unfortunately, Jacksonville, when you look at the roster here, there's unfortunately just not going to be anybody that is deserving of an X factor. Offensive linemen don't get it, so Linder's not going to be on there. And, when you look at it, I don't think that a guy like Chark had one good year is going to get it. I don't think they'll give Fournette it. Josh Allen is probably the closest to it if you look at where they're at. But I think overall, superstar abilities are going to be around. But overall, X factor, I just don't see as an attainable thing at launch for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Heading to the other team in New York, Jamal Adams is going to keep his X factor. One of the best safeties, if not the best, in college football, in the NFL. He's just able to completely control the defensive side, do whatever he wants with the opposing team's offense, and completely wreck in run support. So I really love what Jamal Adams adds to a team like the Jets. I'm glad that he's staying put. I think that he is a guy who probably wants to stay in one place, be a he wants to be Prez. That's what he said. His nickname is Prez. He wants to be Prez for New York Jets fans, and that's what he is. So Jamal Adams is going to be the X factor. I thought about giving Le'Veon Bell one, but I think that due to last season's season, he's not going to get an X factor right away. I think he'll get one eventually, but to start off, Jamal Adams is going to be the only X factor for the New York Jets, in my opinion. When we come to Detroit, it's the same thing as the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a lot of good players, a lot of players who I think will get superstar abilities like Kenny Golladay. But unfortunately, I just don't see an X factor on their team, at least right now, especially due to the injury with Matt Stafford and stuff. I think guys that could have made a jump didn't do it last year because of the injury. So overall, not a start-off X factor, but there's going to be some superstars on this team, and it's going to be fun to play with them as well. I think even with the injury, he's going to push through it and get an X factor. Davante Adams for the Green Bay Packers, top 3 receiver in my opinion, top 5, no doubt, based on anyone's opinion. One of the best route runners we have, which is an absolute possession machine. He is like a young Larry Fitzgerald, in my opinion. He's very, very good. I love what Davante has as a player. I think he's going to be able to get back into the X Factors as of next. Aaron Rodgers has been one of the GOATs at the quarterback position. I don't see a reason he loses his X Factor. He's definitely very smart when it comes to the football, rarely throws interceptions, and I think he's going to keep that X Factor that he has right now, which doesn't let him throw to AI, an interception to AI defenders. So he's going to keep his X Factor, one of the best football players we have in the past decade. So really, really good to see Aaron Rodgers. Can't wait to see what he does next year, especially with a young rookie. A guy who already has an X factor in this Madden, and I think will just keep it going into next season. One of the best corners we have in football, only in his 3rd year coming up this 2020 season. Jaire Alexander, he's really fun to watch. Just is able to do a lot at the cornerback position. He's able to keep with defenders with his speed. He's able to press pretty well. I mean, there's not much this guy can't do. He was an absolute home run out of Louisville a couple years ago. So Jaire Alexander, I think, will keep his X factor. And there's going to be one more Green Bay Packer. I think that's good. Much as I like guys like Zadarius Smith on the defense, I think Aaron Jones did so much last year to earn not only a face scan, let's focus on that first, but an X factor ability going into the 2020 season. This guy was just absolutely insane last season. He was one of the best running backs in football, and I don't see a reason that slows down. He has competition, obviously, with A.J. Dillon being drafted from them as more of a power back. He might steal some touchdowns at the goal line. You have Jamal Williams, who usually splits some carries with him. It's usually like a 70-30 split, but Aaron Jones is so far above all those guys. He is an absolute beast. I think that starting off the season, he should and deserves an X factor to start off. But that is going to be it for the Packers as we move on from. The one and only X factor is going to be the one and only 99 club for this team, and one of the only 99 club players in the NFL, and that is Christian McCaffrey. I mean, the things that this guy does out of the backfield, he's one of the best receivers that we have in the NFL, and he doesn't even play that position. What he can do, the way he makes defenders miss, I mean, this guy is so much fun to watch. If you haven't been able to watch any Panthers games, I mean, they're not the easiest to watch due to how the team has been performing, but McCaffrey is able to just do the impossible. So Christian McCaffrey was a just amazing pick by them a couple years ago, and I think this is one of the best players we have in the NFL. Definitely deserving of an X factor. The Patriots, even without Tom Brady, as much of a loss as that is, this defense is still absolutely elite, and that's why 2 of their defenders are going to keep X factors, in my opinion. Starting off with Stephon Gilmore, best corner in the NFL, hands down, no one even close to him. I think he is on a tier above everybody else. This is a guy who is going to just kill it. I mean, he's so good. He's like the Kawhi Leonard of the NFL. He's quiet. He's never making too much noise, but he is just consistently the best player at his position, and he goes out and proves it every single week. Stephon Gilmore is another guy who I think is going to keep his X factor ability is Devin McCourty. He has been aging well as well. I mean, X factor ability at 32 years old, going into his 33-year-old season. He is able to just do so good at that free safety spot. He's able to cover so much ground. He's able to do anything you want a free safety to do at twice the age of most of these kids. Not twice the age, obviously, but I love what his game is going to be. I can't wait to see what this Patriots team looks like without Tom Brady. I think people will be pleasantly surprised with how good this team is due to how great this defense is. So I'm interested to see how they perform, but Devin McCourty and Gilmore are going to be big reasons why they are performing well. Going into Las Vegas here, I thought about giving Josh Jacobs or Darren Waller an X factor, but I think that they're just slightly out of there. I think they'll start them out as a superstar, and if they continue to perform well, they'll bump them up to an X factor. But overall, this team has a lot of talent. I think that, like I said, those 2 guys are definitely on superstar X factor watch.
but they're definitely going to get superstar abilities. But overall, at the start of the season, I don't see them giving anybody an X factor to start out. Going to the LA Rams, we're starting off with one of the best players in football for the past however many years, man. This guy is just insane to watch. Aaron Donald is the best defensive lineman in football. He goes out there and consistently proves it every single year. There's no reason why he would not get an X factor. Might not be a 99, might start off at 98, 97, but definitely going to be a guy who, in my opinion, is on the brink of losing an X factor. I do think they're going to start him off with it in Jalen Ramsey. When he went to the Rams, I didn't really see too much production out of him. I know he made the Pro Bowl, but I mean, there was some. I mean, so did Xavier Rhodes, you know. So, you know, Ramsey, I think that he's still one of the best corners we have in the league. But I think that with what's been happening in the media with him and him talking and stuff, it kind of hurt when he actually finally got traded, and then you went out there and there was players that were kind of getting past him a lot. So I think he's got an X factor to start off because Jalen Ramsey has that name attached to him. Starting him out without an X factor would just seem wrong, but I think it's a very big possibility he goes down to superstar throughout the season. Baltimore fans, you were able to snag an X factor player for basically no draft capital cost. Calais Campbell has been just one of the most consistently best defensive linemen in the NFL. In probably a future Hall of Famer. He's Walter Payton Man of the Year. This guy is just a beast. 6'8", 300 pounds, scary ass human being, and he is able to be an X factor for the Baltimore Ravens. I almost said Boston for some reason. The Baltimore Ravens, love what he's able to do on the field. Just an absolute behemoth. He's going to add to this defense even better than it was last year. So love what Calais Campbell's going to bring to them. But I think they have one more X factor, you guys. And that X factor is Lamar Jackson, the 22, 23-year-old MVP, unanimous MVP. He's going to keep his X factor. He's able to just do everything on the ground. He's got a pretty decent arm. He's able to make the throws you need him to. This offense is tailored around him and Mark Ingram and now J.K. Dobbins as well. So I love what Lamar Jackson has and how glitchy he is in Madden. It's fun to have that Michael Vick type player back in Madden. So props to him. Lamar Jackson, you are an absolute beast in Madden. I thought about putting Earl Thomas on here, but I think that he's going to decrease with the off-the-field stuff that's happening right now, as well as just, I don't know if he's going to keep his X factor. I think he'll start off as a superstar. Redskins fans, unfortunately, I just don't see anybody that would be an X factor to start off. I think Kendall Fuller is pretty highly rated. I don't think he's an 87 up here. But other than that, I mean, you look at it, probably Chase Young is one of the best players on the team that could get one. But other than that, man, I think that the team, it has some work to be done. So hopefully someone maybe progresses and becomes an X factor, or maybe there's an X factor lineman ability. Maybe Sheriff could end up getting there. But as of right now at launch, there's no Redskin player that's getting it. For New Orleans, a 99 club lock, in my opinion, is Michael Thomas. Broke the single season reception record. I mean, he has just been an absolute monster ever since coming out of Ohio State in the second round. It's crazy to see teams that actually had to pass on this guy for other receivers especially. So it definitely hurts those teams a lot more seeing how great of a player this man is. But him and Breeze keeping the connection one more year is going to be super fun to watch. I can't wait to see the States team next year. But Michael Thomas is only one of 3 X factors for this team. Old man Breeze going into possibly his final season with Winston being the backup is going to keep his X factor. He is an X factor player. When he's on the field, he is making plays. He is able to do seemingly the impossible. He's paved the way for a lot of guys under 6 foot to be quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's done it at such a high level. So Drew Brees, I love what he brings to the team. He's going to be an X factor as well. Last but not least, for the New Orleans Saints, Cam Jordan, another guy who's just consistently produced these numbers for years and years. He's been an absolute beast on the edge for years and years. No reason I think he's going to lose his X factor, especially with a team as winning as the New Orleans Saints have been. Seattle fans, I think you're very, very familiar with these 2 players that are your X factors. Bobby Wagner, middle linebacker for such a long time, best middle linebacker in the NFL, unanimously now that Luke Kuechly has called it a career and laced up his cleats for the last time. Bobby Wagner is just far in between above everybody else at the middle linebacker position. Love what he's able to do for that defense. And I think there's somebody on offense you guys might have heard of as well. One of the most underrated players in the NFL, Russell freaking Wilson, is getting his X factor. I think 97 overall is perfect for him. He deserves it. He is one of the best quarterbacks we've had in such a long time in the NFL, and he's never really gotten that respect. I mean, I saw a thing today that he's never even received 1 MVP vote in his career, which is just absolutely bananas. I mean, this guy is one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. He is an absolute beast, the way he's able to extend the plays. I mean, he has 97 improviser right here on his archetype, so you know he's able to do anything he can to make sure this play goes on. Russell Wilson's an absolute beast, and he's been doing it with pretty much no offensive line his whole career. So Russell Wilson, this guy deserves it. I have 2 X factors here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, starting off with TJ Watt. TJ Watt has really put himself out there as one of the best outside linebacker edge rushers in the NFL, especially with last year's season. He ended up earning an X factor in Madden 20. I think he's going to keep that up in Madden 21 and keep that X factor ability and keep up his play in real life as well to hold on to this thing. I mean, he is one of the best edge rushers we have. He's not looking like little brother anymore to JJ Watt. Another guy who I think is going to be a lot higher rated and an X factor next year is Minkah Fitzpatrick. When he went to Pittsburgh, he made an enormous jump in talent. He was the best free safety in football when he was in the Steelers organization. I mean, this guy is an absolute beast. He was able to do everything for this team. I loved watching Minkah Fitzpatrick play for the Steelers defense, and he, no doubt in my mind, locked down an X-Factor ability. Going into our last few teams, J.J. Watt, which I think that is such an unfair face scan. He looks like the kid from The Incredibles, but one of the best players we've ever seen in football. You know, hopefully he stays completely healthy next year, but X Factor, no doubt. This guy is an X Factor. He's the definition of an X Factor. When he is on the field, he makes plays, and he gets better and better as play goes on. So, love what J.J. Watt brings to the field. We just talked about TJ, now we talked about JJ, and now we're going to talk about Derek. No, I'm just kidding. But J.J. Watt is an X Factor. I don't know if there's another deserving quarterback more than Deshaun Watson to earn an X Factor going into Madden 21. He has consistently been one of the best players in football. He is able to improvise well. He's able to keep on his feet to make good throws. He's able to use his feet when he needs to. I mean, this guy is one of the most fun players to watch in the NFL. There's no reason I don't think he is starting off at least at an 88, 89 with an X Factor ability. Kicking off the Tennessee Titans, a guy who is another disrespected player in the NFL who never really gets the props he deserves, but is consistently one of the best at his position. Kevin Byard, I think, is going to start off with an X Factor. Out of Middle Tennessee State, he has really come a long way, and like I said, one of the best free safeties we have. He's able to cover those zones exactly where he needs to be. He can man up if he needs to, but this guy, if you throw it his direction, you better be worried because it's probably going to get knocked down if not picked off. So Kevin Byard is going to be one of 2 for the Titans. How can you not put Derrick Henry on the X Factor list? This guy is an absolute beast. He already has freight train ability. I mean, he's terrifying. He's absolutely terrifying. This guy is an absolute monster. You gotta love how he plays. Derrick Henry is an epitome of an X Factor. I mean, he has abilities. He is a robot when it comes to playing. There's just no way this person's real, but he is. He's fast. He's able to just run through anybody. He's got the size. He's got this everything. I mean, this guy is a beast. X Factor for. Last but not least, the Minnesota Vikings are a team that they look a little weird now with no Stefon Diggs, but definitely have some very good playmakers on their team. Starting off with Harrison Smith. He's done it for such a long time. He's been one of the best safeties in football for such a long time. Definitely going to be an X Factor to start him out in 21. I mean, those black sleeves, I don't know what it is about them, but anytime I see them when I play the Vikings on Madden, I'm terrified. One of the best running backs in the NFL, especially when healthy, and I hope he stays healthy because when he is, he produces seasons like he did last year. Dalvin frickin' Cook is an X Factor. I mean, if you were a fantasy owner of him, you loved him. If you were a fantasy owner of someone else other than him, you wish you had him. This guy is an absolute beast at the running back position. Love what Dalvin Cook. Danielle Hunter already has an X Factor this year. I don't see a reason he would lose it. One of another underrated edge rushers in the league. Definitely one of the best we have. I think that he deserves to keep it, especially because he has it right now. It's possible it goes down to Superstar, but I think that he definitely deserves to keep his X Factor ability. And the last Viking and last player on the video to get the X Factor ability is going to be Eric Hendricks. Now, I know a lot of people might be thinking Adam Thielen. I think Adam Thielen will start off as a superstar. The injuries really regressed his season, and with no Diggs there, I think it's going to be definitely a learning point of seeing where he is. But Eric Hendricks was one of the best middle linebackers we have. Now without KEENAN there as well, it frees up a lot of space in the rankings for best middle linebackers. Hendricks has definitely proven to be one of the best. I think he's deserving of an X Factor after his season. That is going to be it for the X Factor prediction video. There was a little bit over 50 players that we've named, so if there's anybody that you think I missed out on, please let me know in the comment section below who you think. If there's any players that you think I gave that you don't think are going to be one, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to have conversations with people about football. Obviously, with football not being on right now, we'd usually be preparing for rookie mini camps, but it's harder to think of stuff to do with the NFL. We're going to keep trying to do it, but I hope you guys did enjoy this type of video. There should be a realistic rebuild for the New York Giants coming out soon as well. If you did appreciate this video, please be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. Again, almost 98-99% of viewers are not subscribed. You're definitely going to want to subscribe for the more content that we do here on Madden. with the NFL, with the drafts, with fantasy football as well. We pretty much do anything involving football, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe as well. But if you didn't like the video, please be sure to just, of course, refresh the page, check it out again, and let me know what you think the second time. And without further ado, that is going to be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.